Hello, and welcome to Cities Skylines with Splatt. We're starting a new city on this gorgeous island map. What do we have in store? What are our plans? Well, let's take a closer look at this map and see what we have to work with. Okay, so this little square right here is where we get to start first. Now, normally when I would build a city, I would just build stuff that I think looks cool. But for a map like this one, with such a unique building area, I think it deserves a little bit of a story as to why it's here and how it got here. I'm thinking that as this place is on the ocean front, it's definitely going to have a fishing industry for sure. But we're not gonna be able to get to the fishing industry until we get a little ways up in our population. So to start off with, we have to figure out why this city is here and what we're gonna do with it. I'm thinking, so I'm looking around at the rivers here, and these little river valleys strike me as being very agriculturally attractive, some good place for farming. And so perhaps just to start off with, we're gonna have a little bit of a farm town just to kick things off and get started here. So I'm thinking to start off with, I want to go with this little area here between this road that comes from the north and south down to this highway that fronts the ocean and this river here. I think this would be a really great place to start building our city. And so to get started, we are going to have to do what we always do in every game of Cities Skylines. We're going to have to build a little road just to unlock everything else. So we're going to drop a little piece in, unlock the rest of the available assets that we can use for now, even though we have quite a few that are from the Steam Workshop they're going to be using later. This unlocks vanilla things and things that we want to use. We're going to grab a little 2-lane road here, and the first thing we want to do is we're going to have to put in our power station. Now, I'm looking at the terrain. It does get lower, and it begins to rise fairly aggressively up here past this little border. And so just to make it a little bit manageable, I'm thinking I want to put my power plant up here on this little plateau bluff thing and just draw a road that kind of follows that little piece of terrain right there. So we're going to come up here to where this curves, and we're going to come off, and we are going to create just like that. Grab our move it mod and kind of a little prettier. Okay, and we're just gonna put our power plant in right up here. So to do that, I'm just going to drop in a piece of straight road right there. We're gonna grab a coal power plant to start with, and we are going to be definitely moving on to more environmentally friendly power as we can. We're just gonna put a coal power plant right there, and we're going to grab a water treatment plant, and we're just gonna put one right there across the street. We're gonna pipe these suckers in. Now I could put my freshwater pumps along the river, but I find that the water physics in this game kind of go funky when you have pumps on moving water like this. And until I have a chance to put some dams in or build some reservoirs or something, I think what we're just gonna do is go with the good old water tower. And we're just gonna drop a water tower in right over here by this intersection. I think I'm gonna do it on this side. We're just gonna put one right there. We're gonna go ahead and pipe it in. and we are ready now to start building in the actual place where people are going to live. So I'm looking at this little bit of ruins here, and I think this little ruined cemetery church thing would be kind of a neat little centerpiece for a park later on. So I want to leave some space around it open, and I want to build the residential areas elsewhere. And taking a look at the terrain just to see what we're working with, there is a definite rise right here, and there's kind of a flat place that fills in this area down here. I'm thinking if we were to put a road that kind of just follows this terrain and then hooks up with that intersection there. Okay, so we got this little curved road in that kind of follows that little hill line, leaving the rest of this flat land down here for building. And the next thing we're gonna do is we're just gonna drop in extra roads in a nice straight line. We're gonna just do the old traditional, line everything up, so that all the zoning matches, and then hook it all together later. Let's get some zoning put in. Lots of residential in here. Drop in a little bit of commercial here and there. Zone a little bit more up this way just so we can get the power to jump across, and then we can fix that later once the city starts to grow more. I think we can hit the go button and see what happens. Or do we want to put in a little bit of, yeah, let's go ahead and do just a touch of industrial, because I'm fairly sure that is going to come up at some point. Let's fire this thing up and see what happens. And we have hit Little Hamlet. So now we got 222 people, and we can do taxes. And taxes are great because we can finally stop losing money. Before we go much further, let's pause the game. Let's open up our tax panel. Let's look at what we got here. We know that with Cities Skylines, we can increase our taxes to 12% before people freak out and start leaving. So we're going to put taxes up to 12. Okay, we're going to take a little look to see how things are coming in. And we are having power issues because I forgot to connect the power lines here to the power station, because I am just that kind of guy. But as you can see, stuff is moving in and we're getting developed in. We don't have any industrial yet, but that will come. And yeah, let's crank this thing up and let it run a little bit longer and just see what happens. Hey, we've hit Worthy Village, 440, another 220 people down the road. And now we have access to districts, which is what I've been waiting for. We also have access to the agricultural specialization, which will be kind of fun with this being a farming community and all that. And I'm looking forward to getting access to the fishing industry. So we'll definitely look into that. But now we have to worry about fire and police. And yeah, that's going to get expensive. So let's take a little look at our city and see if we can figure out a way to start pulling in a little bit of a profit. We are currently almost making money. We're in the hole by 130, and I think we can fix that. Before we fix that though, I was looking forward to getting into districts, because I have some district themes that I really want to use to start this city off early. I'm going to paint in this whole area that I'm going to be building first with the same district theme, because I want all of these buildings to look kind of similar. So I went ahead and paint this in. We'll go ahead and click on the name, go to themes, and go to our theme manager. I really like the big suburbs style, which is a theme that you can find in the Steam workshop, which gives these little American suburban houses. It's a little bit better than like the American eclectic or the big suburbs. I don't know why they call this big suburbs, because the houses really don't get that big. But the eclectic theme has these like really large, ritzy, upper middle class, looking houses. Whereas big suburbs looks a little bit more like something that I grew up with. And I like how it has all the trees and things that come with it. It's a very organic looking neighborhood, and this is the one that I want to use. Now, I went through and I created my own theme called Big Suburb Styles with Commercial, because I actually went in and I added some commercial structures so that I can just zone it out in all together without having to worry about the commercial getting built. So we're going to go here, we're going to go Theme Manager, we're going to enable that theme for the city, and the Big Suburb Style with Commercial is going to get turned on. And we're going to come in here and we're going to build a few more roads, because we have a little bit of money to add a little bit more residential to our area here, and perhaps even some space to put in a school or a police station later. So I'm actually going to pull this down like that. I'm going to pull a road down to follow this kind of as an access road because I eventually plan on putting a police station or fire station right in there. We're gonna use the move it mod to just kind of drag this down and connect it to that other road. There we go. And yeah, that'll be a little space to put some service buildings in. But while we're doing that as well, let's go ahead and put some more residential in. Let's grab our road, and I think I want to follow the river up here. And do we have enough money for any of this stuff? We have enough money for a clinic. Let's put the clinic right here, which means we're gonna have to draw a road all the way across. And I want the road to be like a really small one. Maybe we could do like a one-way with some trees. That'd be kind of pretty. We'll just go one way across like so. And we'll put our medical clinic right smack dab in the middle of that. And we're out of money. So now let's get some zoning going. That should get us going. We've got access points along this road. So there, and that doesn't give me, okay, yeah, that's gonna work. And once we get some money together, we'll put in some other services around, but that is gonna work. So let's go ahead and crank this up again and watch the people move in and love the new theme that's gonna go down. This theme is really nice. It's like these kind of buildings here. It's like these nice little small town houses with the big trees in the back. Some of these like that come with other themes, I really don't like. This is like an ugly place. We're gonna get rid of that and let somebody else move in there who has a better looking house. We're looking around to see if it's like these things with the construction, those are from the eclectic pack and I don't want to have those in. So we're going to get rid of the construction sites so that these little houses with the hedgerows and the trees and stuff can move in and kind of give this town that small farm seaside look that I want without getting all super high and mighty and ritzy rich because we're just not that kind of town yet. But I think that's all of them. Everything else that's moving in should be these kind of structures here. Like I love this stuff. This is exactly what I'm looking for the city look. So let's watch them move in. We are now a tiny town, meaning that we have access to park areas and landscaping and schools and the fishing industry and all kinds of cool stuff. And that is what we're going to be working with next. Let's check out some parks and some fishing to complete our story for the start of this town. And we're ready to do our parks. So let's come over here and we'll grab this tool, pause the game. We're going to grab the, oh no, we're not going to pause the game. I want the game to continue running while I do this because I need to earn the money. We're going to take this thing here and we're going to paint in a park area. And the park area is going to be all of this space around this ruined graveyard thing with the church. And I just think this would be a really neat place to put in some walking paths and some trees and some gardens and have a lot of fun. So now we have that garden put in. So we need to have an entrance to our park. So we come over here to the park tab and we go grab a main park entrance or a small. I'm gonna go with a small park entrance. And that is gonna go right here in the middle. It's going to unlock a bunch of stuff that we can now put in. And we have side gates. And I think we're going to put some side gates just around in a few different places here for people to get into the park. I think that'll work. You got 3 entrances there. And let's connect these together with some pathways with trees. And let's curve it up. right, so we got a bit of a park put in here. Nice little water feature in the middle with a couple of piers, a playground for kids to play on, different park assets, and we're waiting for the park to continue leveling up so we can put a few more things in. I have a few assets that I like to use on parks that I don't have on, that I haven't got from Steam yet for this city, but that's because I'm trying to take it a little bit easier on the assets and the mods this time to see if we can keep performance up longer. But eventually I will get those out and we'll see what we can do with those. So now that we have that park put in and the people are happy with it, we can pull up our information here and see what we need to do. As you can see, we have a lot of money. We let the game run for quite a while. We were putting that park in, and we have a huge demand for residential. We are gonna be short on water, so we're gonna have to put another water tower in, but everything else is going pretty well so far. We are having some not enough worker issues, which I think, yep, not enough workers. So we need to do some more residential, which I think means it is time to jump over to the other side of the river. So let's pause the game here and let's take a look and see what roads we have access to that could make for a nice area here. I think I want to use a 4-lane road. And we're gonna do one with trees, and we're gonna pull it off of here as a main feeder. Eventually, this is gonna get upgraded to a 4-lane road too. But this is going to be serving this whole area right in here, and I think it needs to be a pretty significant road. We'll put our big, nice, giant road right in here. A lot of nodes there. We might have to clean those up later. That's a little better. I have prop anarchy on, which I shouldn't, so we'll turn that off. There we go. Give it a little wiggle shake. And that is going to fix that for us. Okay. Come down here, do a little wiggle shake, and get rid of those trees. Okay. So you got rid of all the trees. So now we're ready to go back to our 2-lane roads, and we're just going to use the regular old 2-lane road, and we're just going to follow the curve of the river like we did on the other side. To add another water tower, and I think we'll just put this one down here away from the city so it's not too incredibly noisy, right along the riverfront there. We're gonna have to bring some power across. It's gonna look a little weird, but that is just the way it's gonna be. And then we're gonna start zoning it in. Let's continue that zone, that district that we started. Crank it up, see what builds. All right, we are now a busy town with 2,800 people, and we've got some more specializations and some more policies getting put in, and we have some new roads unlocked, which are going to be nice. So let's just keep letting things grow and let the money keep coming in. We'll save up to do a little bit more work. All right, so now that our city is starting to get grown in and we've got some residential areas plopped down and people are moving in and we're filling up our little square here, I think it's time for us to take a look at the story that we wanted to develop for this city, and that it needs to be a farming / fishing community. Now, I put in all of this industrial area over here to get things started, but I don't generally like putting industrial stuff this close to residential, and the industrial areas in this game kind of make me sad because they're just so ugly and nasty. Like, to be perfectly honest with you, I've never really comprehended why this happens in Cities Skylines with this nasty, just completely ruined area, because there are industrial areas where I live that don't look this horrible. Cities are usually better at being able to put like vegetation and stuff that can survive in these environs, and also having restrictions on how industry is able to perform what it is they're doing without completely just utterly making this disgusting, ugly stuff. So what I'm thinking of doing is replacing all of this with some fishing industry and some agriculture, so that people still have jobs to do, because they will treat the industry down, the DLC industry stuff, as jobs. My city is not big enough yet where the commercial areas should be struggling with not enough goods. There will be some importing that happens, but later on we can offset that using offices and things like that. So let's take a look at doing that. We're gonna have to pause the game. We might have to take out a loan to do this, because this is probably going to get a little bit expensive. But let's take a look first at what we could possibly do with the fishing industry. We only have this square, and to be perfectly honest with you, the reasonable approach would be for the fishing industry to be over here in this section, because there's rail that comes over here. We've got this breakwater, things like that. But there's nothing to stop us from using a little bit of this beachfront area. We've got this little bit of land that kind of sticks off from this big road up here that we might be able to use, and see what we can do to get some fishing put in. So let's take a look at our fishing industry. And we have anchovies and we have shellfish. Let's go to our industry tab. Let's click on fishing. And I have some different assets that I've downloaded, but we're gonna mess with those later. These are all for marinas and doing beautiful things with like boat spawning and stuff to make kind of a pretty area. But what I wanna look at here are the fishing harbors and the fishing farms. We have fishing harbors, and we can put some fishing harbors out here, but it's gonna be on the beach, and I'm worried that it's gonna look a little odd. So we might have to do a little bit of terraforming to make this work. So let's grab our terraforming tools. I like the idea of this breakwater out here. I wonder if I could build something like that, or do I want to mess with that for now? Maybe not. Let's just put some fishing industry out here and just see how it looks. I don't want to go like so crazy on, like, you just really wouldn't see this on the beach, would you? It would be more of a built-up area. We're gonna do that. We can come through with some props and things and put some breakwater stones and stuff down here to make it look a little bit more reasonable. Do I want this down to water level? Okay, we can slope that away, build this up a little bit. Let's at least make a road maybe even on the beach, perhaps? Something like that. Let's grab our terrain tool and let's see if we can't push this back a little bit to make it a little more reasonable looking and kind of soften the terrain up just a touch. Okay, so that's a little better. As soon as I turn this on, it's going to flood everything, right? At the end of the world there. Okay. Let's go ahead and pull some roads down. And we got industrial roads, or we have these rural roads. I kind of like these rural roads, these little country lanes that I've downloaded. We're going to grab a 2-lane country road. This one's cheaper. We're just gonna drag it off here, turn on all the snapping, and we're going to curve it around there. So there is a mod that I could be using that would allow me to grab this little piece of road right here and update it. But I don't seem to have that mod actually installed right now, so I'll have to do that later. And I could change this road into this little country lane. But for now, we're just gonna leave it like it is. And we're going to bring some water and some power down here. And I'm trying to decide how I wanna have the power come down. Do I wanna have like a warehouse, or do I wanna have any more of the fishing stuff in here? Let's just let the fishing harbor run for a while. We do need to set up the fishing route, so let's do that. And let's watch our fishing boat to see if it actually fills up. 91%, that's pretty close. Make a small adjustment to it here. 99, I'll take it. One of the things that happened is when I put in this data pack, when I put in this pack that I had for all the marinas and stuff, it turned all of the fishing boats into these yachts and these pleasure cruisers. It's kind of weird looking, and I'm not sure I want to go with that all the time, but it is what it is, and we're just gonna have to see what we want to do later. One thing I don't like is this road here. I'm gonna redo that. I don't like the way that that comes down. We're gonna destroy all of this, and we're going to get rid of this, and I'm actually going to move this guy over just a little bit, and we're going to have the road come around that way and connect up, because I think it looks horrible cutting across the beach like that. And it also gives me the freedom to come down that way. All right, so I snuck in a little fishing farm area, though I will have to admit that I used the Move It mod to cheat just a touch. Here's the border, there's the road. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it goes. 3 cheers for mods. And now we have a moved around and decorated fishing area. I tried to add like some rocks and some stones and some grass. It looks like beach grass sticking up and stuff. Some trees and things to try to just make it look like it's not plunked down on a beach. It's going to wash away. As we go over time, I'm going to add a grass line that goes down the beachfront, similar to what you would see on some of the beaches on the east coast of the United States. And yeah, I'm really happy with how this turns around. There's got no power at the moment, which I'm going to fix by adding in just a few little bits here on this, probably a warehouse or two on this road. Which we can see what kind of warehouses we have. And just, do we have a small warehouse yard that we just want to put in here to try to get the, that gonna look weird? That's gonna look weird. Yeah, let's not do that. I'll come up with something else I want to put in here. Maybe I'll put another water tower down here because we are going to need some more water. Let me just check the pollution. Yeah, I could stick a water tower in here. Do I want a big one? No, I can't. I wish I could get a big one. Let's put a water tower in here. You see if we can get the power to jump across. Did that make the power jump? Oh, so close. Oh no, I did. Okay, the power did jump. All right, so now we just need to hook that up. Is it out of the... Actually, we're out of the pollution. All right, let's make sure that we are not in a pollution zone. Does the power still jump? It does. Okay. You need to come over here. That should work. Okay. Now our boats are no longer driving over our farm. And we've got a little bit of a fishing village area over here that's going to fit the theme of our fishing town quite well. The next thing we need to do is we're going to go take a look at this industrial area and see if it's possible to convert any of this into farming and get rid of all this pollution over here. Let's take a look at our resources. And yes, this is fertile land over here. That's what I was hoping to see. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to go through here and I'm going to clean all this out, and I'm going to install some farming areas, and that's going to probably require us to take out a loan, but we'll see what happens. So I've done a little bit of finagling, and I've gotten a farming area put in. We've got some new roads laid out. I use some of these rural farm roads that I have, and I like the way this is looking. I did use the Move It mod pretty heavily and a few other mods to kind of, some might say, cheat to do this, but I look at it from the perspective of not necessarily cheating, but just trying to overcome some of the shortcomings of the game. Because the game does not allow you to set up a farming industry until you've got your population higher and you've unlocked it. And that doesn't make any sense to me, because I know for a fact there are lots of very low population areas that have farming communities, and that's what people do for a living. So I have no problem whatsoever in using the Move It mod and some other things to get my farming community put in, because I had to have the industry to start with just to build up the town and get the population going. So we've got all of our services up here out of the way. These are eventually going to get moved in favor of something that's going to be a lot more climate friendly and pollution friendly and just not as ugly. Once we get better, once our population grows and we have better power supplies to use, we will use those. But now we've got some wheat and we've got some animals, we've got some silos, and this is going to be growing, and it's right now it's just 1 star, but it's eventually going to be getting quite a bit bigger. And if we scroll all the way over here, you will see that we also have our fishing industry started over here and decorated and put in. And so yeah, that's kind of what I envisioned this whole area being at the beginning, was a fishing / farming community. We are going to have to do something about the luxury yachts that are being used for fishing. I'll just have to uninstall some mods or move some things around, or right, there's one. So we do have a few fishing boats. I'm not sure why that one's there, but maybe I can figure out a way to keep these things going the way they are. The rest of our town is moving in quite nicely. They've built it along this river. They're filling in some beautiful neighborhoods here with these little idyllic houses. We've got some we got some commercial come in, some department stores, shopping areas, restaurants. We've got some pretty little parks that I've put in that kind of front a few of these areas. So if you come up here, you can see that I'm using some of the assets that I've used in previous city from Avanya. She has these little planter assets that are amazing, and we put some of those in. We have a floating tennis court that needs to be lowered to the ground because that's really bizarre looking. We'll do that really quick. We have walkways for people to get to and from different parts of town and get over this main road. I went ahead and used the new tool that they allowed us to use with the last update with airports, where you can now put whatever tree you want on a tree line road. And I just like these hydrangeas here, so that's cool. I got a couple little park assets that I've downloaded and used in the past. This sunken plaza is really cool. And we've got some more of those park assets from Avanya over here, just kind of beautifying the city and making things look a little nicer. We got these things here, got a dog park. We've got a carousel up on a hill. I don't know why it's there. I need to do a little work to get that lower down, but hey, I think it's kind of neat. You ride the carousel and see the town all around you. And we have a cliffside town development coming along this train track, but that is outside of the city limits, and there's really not much I can do about that right now, but we will go through and do a little bit of smoothie action later. So I'm really happy with the start that we've got on this town. The only issue is my town does not have a name. I would really like if anybody could leave me a comment down below to help me come up with a name for this town. The last one was the city of Odyssey, which I just named because I like Greek mythology, but let's go with something themed. This Costa Azzurra island build. Don't know if you want to consider this like a Caribbean island kind of thing or what, but maybe we have some good names that would work here. I would really appreciate any suggestions that you could give me. If I don't get any suggestions, I will try to come up with something on my own, and I can almost assure you it is not going to be nearly as good as anything that you guys could suggest. So I think that's going to do us for our very first episode on this new city on the map, Costa Azzurra. I can't wait to see where this goes. It's going to be some really fun building as we start to fill out all of the flatlands and have to start squeezing things into the valleys and up into the hills. We're probably going to be buying some land next time around because we're almost out of space. But for now, this is where we are at, and this is what we've got. And I appreciate everybody for hanging out with me this while. Like I said, if you have a suggestion for a name, put that in the comments down below. And until next time, I'll catch y'all later.